this food, could put you behind bars, not poison, not drugs food. In the United States, there was a time when eating the wrong thing, at the wrong moment, could cost you your freedom. Stay with me. Because what you're about to hear isn't just about food, it's about control, power, and the terrifying truth that even what you eat can be a crime. Because hidden inside American history are foods so controversial, so feared, that governments stepped in, banned them, punished them, and turned ordinary people into criminals. From forbidden meats, to outlawed drinks, to everyday items you wouldn't even question today. People were fined, shamed, locked up, and some lost everything. This isn't a food story, this is survival. And once you hear it, you'll never look at your plate the same way again. Let's begin. There was a time when alcohol wasn't just frowned upon. It was illegal. During Prohibition, alcohol became one of the most dangerous foods you could consume, not because of what it did to your body, but because of what it did to your freedom. People hid bottles inside walls, buried them underground, drank in secret. If you were caught, you could be arrested, fined, even jailed. Families were destroyed over a single drink. This wasn't a beverage, this was rebellion, this was risk, and one sip could change your life forever. Draw milk, Sybil, natural, straight from the cow, but in many states, selling it was banned. Why? Officials said it was unsafe, full of bacteria, dangerous to public health, but farmers saw it differently. To them, this wasn't danger, this was tradition. Fast people secretly bought it, traded it, shared it quietly. If caught, farmers faced heavy fines, sometimes even criminal charges. This wasn't just milk, this was defiance, and every glass came with consequences. Foie gras, a luxury food, made from fattened duck or goose liver, but in some places, it was banned, not for safety, for cruelty. Authorities claimed the process was inhumane. Restaurants that served it faced fines. Chefs protested. Some smuggled it in anyway, because to them, this wasn't just food, it was art, but serving it could turn a chef into a criminal overnight. Horse meat, in many countries, it's normal. In parts of the US, it became taboo, then restricted, then effectively banned, not because it was dangerous, but because of emotion. Horses weren't seen as food, they were companions. Selling or processing horse meat became a legal nightmare. Businesses shut down, workers lost jobs. This wasn't about health, this was about identity, and crossing that line meant facing public outrage and legal trouble. Absinthe, a green drink, known as the Green Fairy. In the early 1900s, it was banned in the US. People believed it caused madness, hallucinations, violence. Drinking it could make you look insane. Or worse, criminal. Even possessing it could bring consequences. This wasn't just alcohol, this was fear, bottled. And tasting it meant stepping into the unknown. Here's what they didn't tell you. Sometimes, food wasn't banned because it was dangerous. Sometimes, it was banned to control people. Margarine, yes, butter's cheaper cousin. At one point, it was heavily restricted, even dyed illegally, because dairy industries pushed back hard. In some states, selling colored margarine was illegal. People had to mix color into it themselves. Secretly, if caught, fines followed. This wasn't just about taste, this was about power, and even your breakfast became political. Kinder Surprise eggs, a chocolate treat, with a toy inside, sounds harmless. But in the US it was banned for years. Why? Because small objects inside food were considered a choking hazard. Bringing one into the country could get it confiscated, even fined. Kids wanted them. Pancrants smuggled them. This wasn't candy. This was contraband, and something so innocent became illegal. Shark fins, in several states, banned entirely, not because people didn't want them, but because of how they were obtained. Environmental concerns, cruel practices, restaurants had to remove them. Selling them could serious penalties. For some cultures, this was tradition. For others, it was cruelty. This wasn't just soup, this was conflict. Unpasteurized cheese, a delicacy in many places, but heavily regulated in the US. Cheese aged less than 60 days. Made from raw milk, often banned. Producers struggled, small businesses collapsed. People still sought it out, quietly, because flavor came at a price. this wasn't cheese, this was a gamble, and one bite could bring legal trouble. Moonshine, homemade alcohol, illegal, untaxed, hidden deep in forests. People risked everything to make it. If caught, equipment seized. Jail time possible. Families depended on it, communities protected it. This wasn't just a drink, this was survival, and every drop carried danger. This is where things get darker, because sometimes the ban wasn't about safety or culture. It was about control over entire communities. Turtle soup, once a luxury dish. But overhunting led to restrictions. Suddenly, what was once celebrated became limited. Even illegal in some contexts, fishermen lost livelihoods, traditions faded. This wasn't just a meal, this was history. Disappearing. Black market seafood, from undersized lobsters to out-of-season fish, selling them was illegal, but demand never stopped. People risked fines, arrests, just to sell or eat them, because profit outweighed fear. This wasn't fishing, this was crime, and the ocean became a battlefield. Wild game meat, hunting out of season, illegal. Selling wild meat, heavily restricted. But for many, it was survival. People hunted quietly, sold secretly, because hunger doesn't follow laws. This wasn't sport, this was necessity. And getting caught meant losing everything. Sassafras oil, used to make root beer, eventually banned due to cancer concerns. Suddenly, a traditional flavor became illegal. Manufacturers had to change recipes. People lost a piece of history. This wasn't just a drink ingredient, this was identity, erased. Ortolan bird, tiny, rare, controversial. Eating it, in certain ways, became illegal, but some still did, in secret, because for them, it was tradition. For others, it was cruelty. This wasn't dining, this was taboo. And participating meant crossing a moral line. Here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Food isn't just about eating, it's about who gets to decide what's allowed. Haggis imports, a traditional dish, banned from import into the US because of one ingredient, sheep lung. Americans couldn't legally buy it. Cultural connection cut off. This wasn't just food, this was separation, and something deeply personal became unreachable. Redfish, once overfished, then protected, selling it became illegal. Restaurants removed it overnight. Fishermen struggled. This wasn't conservation, this was survival. Turned upside down, and breaking the rule meant punishment. Ackee fruit, common in other countries, but banned in the US for years, because if not prepared correctly, it's toxic. People still tried to bring it in. Some succeeded, some paid the price. This wasn't fruit, this was risk, disguised as sweetness. Home-cooked food sales, in many places, illegal without permits. People couldn't legally sell food from their own kitchens, even if it was safe, even if it was needed. Fines followed, operations shut down. This wasn't cooking, this was regulation, tightening its grip, and the smallest business became illegal overnight. Pufferfish, deadly if prepared wrong, highly restricted. Only licensed chefs could serve it. Others? Illegal. One mistake, and someone dies. This wasn't food, this was a calculated risk, and one wrong cut could be fatal or criminal. Now think about it. Everything you've heard, all these foods, all these bans, all these punishments, they weren't random. They were decisions made by people with power, and every decision changed lives. Because when food becomes illegal, it stops being just food. It becomes fear, it becomes control, it becomes a line between freedom and consequence. So next time you sit down to eat, ask yourself, what if this, what's on your plate right now, was forbidden? What if one bite could cost you your freedom? Because history has already shown us that it can, and it has. Tell me, which one shocked you the most? And more importantly, would you still eat it if it was illegal? A world where everything on your plate feels normal, safe, legal, but history tells a different story, because every bite you take today was once questioned, controlled, or forbidden. Not because it was always dangerous, but because someone, somewhere, decided it should be. That's the truth most people never see. Food isn't just about hunger, it's about power, it's about who gets to decide what's allowed, and what isn't. And the scariest part, that line can change anytime. What's legal today could be illegal tomorrow. what feels normal now, could once again become a risk, because in the end, this was never just about food, it was about freedom. So, remember this. Every time you sit down to eat, you're not just making a choice, you're experiencing a freedom that others once risked everything for, and sometimes lost everything trying to keep. Now tell me, which one stayed in your mind the longest, and if the rules changed tomorrow, would you still take that bite?